Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Village of Holly's Planning Commission meeting for July 28th, 2021 to order at 7 o'clock. Could we all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mr. Okonski?
Yes, sir.
We did receive email Monday, July 26th at approximately 3 p.m. That the applicant has decided to withdraw their application for tonight's meeting, 2021-003, for consideration of a special land use at 109 2nd Street. They have decided to convert to a long-term rental. The Village of Holly did send out letters to the radius of individuals in the neighborhood, and we then went back and notified all those same residents that they have withdrawn their application. So you will see that you're probably expecting a large crowd this evening, but they all been notified that the applicant has wished to have their application withdrawn. You will see an amended agenda in front of you this evening that we were unable to get this information out to commissioners until this evening. So we apologize for that, but if you could just approve that amended agenda and move forward with that this evening.
All right, when we get to the approval of the agenda, we will do so. One question is on item number 6, being public hearing for that use. Are we going to nullify the public hearing?
No, sir. According to the rules, we do have to open the public hearing in case anybody does show and wants to speak on behalf of that property. But even though the applicant has withdrawn.
All right, we will
Due
do.
to the public notice being in the paper, we still have to give the public opportunity to speak.
All right, we will proceed as that, with that in mind.
Thank you, sir.
All right, could we have roll call, please?
Lawton,
Here.
Kinnaman,
Here.
DeSessa,
Here.
Christian,
Here.
Jim Clark,
Here.
Steele, Lacy,
Here.
Ted Clark,
Here.
Okonski.
Here. And I have a note here to please excuse Cal Steele.
So
You
moved.
notified the office.
Second.
We have a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so excused. All right, approval of agenda, and could we have a motion to approve the amended agenda, please?
I move we approve the amended agenda.
Aye.
We have motion and support. Do we need roll call on that?
Yes, please.
Roll call, please.
Kinnaman,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
DeSessa,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Jim Clark,
Yes.
Lacy,
Yes.
Ted Clark,
Yes.
Okonski.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the approval of the minutes for May 26, 2021.
I move we approve the minutes for the meeting of May 26th, 2021.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Ted Clark,
Yes.
Lacy,
Yes.
Christian,
Yes.
Jim Clark,
Yes.
DeSessa,
Yes.
Kinnaman,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Okonski.
Yes. Thank you. Do I have a volunteer to read the statement of purpose on item number 5?
I'll take it. The mission of the Holly Village government is to enhance our community's quality of life. Our organization strives for quality services, responsive actions to citizens' requests, and a cost-effective government. We promote citizen participation, proactive decision-making, and environmental quality. Most importantly, we shall serve the citizens of Holly. The Village of Holly will be a prestigious historical village that is a green residential oasis from the city, and a center of commerce and activity for the region.
Thank you. All right, moving on to public hearing. Public hearing is regarding to an old agenda item, A of 2021-003, consideration of special land use, 109 2nd Street, which has been removed off the table. However, if there's anyone here from the public that would like to speak in regards to that original request, may they come forward.
We need to
Make a motion.
Make
I'll make a motion.
I'll make the motion that we open public hearing for item 2021-003.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, public hearing is now open.
I
For the-
move we close the public hearing.
Second.
We have a motion support for closing of the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, so moved. Going on to item number 7, public comments. If there's anyone that would like to make a public comment, seeing no one in here as an audience, we will then go on to number 8, which is old business, being none. Going on to item number 9, new business. Since letter A was removed, where the applicant withdrew their special land use request, we will go on to item letter B, which is RRC presentation.
Good evening. I'm going to be presenting this evening on the behalf of the RRC. Thanks for the opportunity to present the Redevelopment Ready Communities Baseline Report and proceeding to compliance. I'm going to start with a little history of the project. Council approved the start of the RRC process in October 2018, with Katie Golden taking the lead and it formally being started in 2020. With the recent staff turnover, Nick Klemp and I have taken over this process. We took the time to be trained attending Zoom meetings every Thursday evening for over 3 months. We are asking the Planning Commission to look at this resolution and accept the baseline report provided by the RRC. This will allow us to work on the program and proceed into compliance. In summary, the RRC is a voluntary technical assistance initiative. This program empowers communities to shape their future by building a foundation of planning, zoning, economic development, and integrating them into everyday functions. This makes us more attractive for projects that creates places where people want to live, work, and invest. There are currently more than 290 communities across the state of Michigan engaged in this program, including nearby communities such as Ortonville, Rochester Hills, and Oxford. The value of the RRC is to help communities be on the forefront of developing unique identities and prosperous businesses. The RRC will help us benefit from a fully streamlined, predictable, and transparent development process that is guided by a shared community vision. This will increase the community's ability to grow local investment while attracting outside investments. It will help in specifics with matching technical funding, transparency, and ease with the development processes in our community. At this time, you can see in our baseline report, and I'm going to have you take a look at page 5, I believe it is. It's this evaluation snapshot. And this is what we're going to be looking at. Right now, what you see is that our community is in 22% full engagement. That's the green boxes that you see on this sheet. 57% alignment, which is yellow, and 21% in need of change, which are all boxes in red on page 5. And as you go through your packet here, you'll see each one of these numbers is broke down into a category and what it is that we need to do to be compliant. This baseline report lasts for 3 years, and after completing it, at which time a new baseline report will be created so that our community can make sure that it is keeping updated with any information or new processes that are available to make sure that we are still in compliance. In conclusion, we feel that this will help our community greatly by helping with match funding, which can help with projects like brownfield redevelopment, website overhaul, and even with the depot relocation. This program emphasizes transparency in operations and efficiency for us to be overall more effective. We feel this project will help Holly be the best community it can be by helping shape our future to be more attractive for projects that create places where people want to live, work, and invest. Thank you. If anybody has any questions, I can answer them or try to at this time.
I've got one.
Yes, sir?
Out of the red squares, is one of those our lack of a, what is it, capital improvement plan?
So one of those is the capital improvement plan. Nick Klemp and I are working on, right now, of the 4 red boxes, 2 of them are going to be a public participation plan, a capital improvement plan. And we are working on both of those right now. We are pretty far along with our public participation plan. We're still reaching out to a couple volunteer groups and business leaders in our community that want to be part of any research or projects or redevelopments or PUDs in our community. We'll bring these individuals in, and kind of like we did in the gym that one summer prior to COVID, we just did some brainstorming. We had the whiteboards up, and everybody was writing on down what they would like to fix, what they would like to, and just put that into a plan and try to achieve that. Obviously, we know these things don't happen overnight, but if we create a plan in 2021, maybe by 2025, we're seeing the fruits of some of these actions. So we are working diligently on that. Council last month approved the resolution. So now, tomorrow, we are meeting with Liz. She is our representative with the RRC, and we will become fully engaged. At that point, we will start to be eligible for funding immediately once we are engaged. So a few of these yellow boxes, once our engagement process is up and initiated and accepted, you'll see those yellow boxes go to green too. Nick and I right now feel like we're about 75% in the yellow or green, and with just those public participation and capital improvement plans being our biggest hurdle, and the website overhaul, I think the rest are pretty much some slam dunks for us. We will be relying on this board pretty heavily. There are some situations in this evaluation. As you look through it, you'll see there's a couple things in there where we need to be more open to select housing. Right now, we do not allow mother-in-law suites. We do not allow secondary primary residence on a single parcel. We do not allow Airbnbs in our downtown district only by special land use, and we don't allow tiny homes. Right now, in the R1B district, I believe it is, minimum square footage per floor is 1,000 feet, and in the R1B district, it is 1,200 square feet. So we're going to work on some of these with the RRC team leader tomorrow to see which ones that we really need to pursue. But a lot of this work is going to be created by the commission that I'm looking at tonight. So over the next several months, you will see some ordinances come through for your review, and it'll help us turn some of these yellow boxes into into green, I'm sorry. We will be working with Caitlin, as you are all familiar with. She asked this evening if she was needed, and I told her that she could take the night off. So she is going to be involved in this just as much as our mentor. She's already gone through this process in Lapeer, and Lapeer is also an RRC community. So she is very familiar with the process and what we need to do to become compliant.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission?
So some of those zoning changes, such as, changing the ones that you've mentioned, do we have to make those changes?
Well, that particular one that I brought up this evening is one of the ones that I am looking to argue. I feel like we do offer diverse living right now with our complex 2.6 square miles, and we're already 95% built out. I think it's only appropriate that we review that ordinance with the RRC director to see if there's any wiggle room for converting that box to green without changing our ordinance. At worst, we might have to look at the special land use for the downtown district, being you don't need one for having an Airbnb on a second floor. But that would be, that's still a hill I'm looking to battle. But as we all know, with the House and Senate reviewing the Airbnbs, with them taking local municipality rights away, enforcement powers, that may be a hill that we don't even have to fight. It's just the state's going to do it for us and make them legal, so we have no choice at that point. So we're reviewing everything right now. That one we're going to kind of just we're going to talk to her about it tomorrow and see where it goes in the state of Michigan with the House and the Senate to see where those Airbnbs will stand here in the coming months.
Have you had any conversations with any of the community leaders in the other areas that are already on board with this?
Nick, being the DDA director,
Yeah.
I left that with him because usually when I stop in to see business owners, They get that look that Galen just gave me. So Nick is our guy that does the positive side of the community. So I believe he's already has a few networks. I haven't talked to him to see where he's at on his progress, but I know he's reached out to a few.
I'd just be curious to see what the actual, the tangible benefits, from the communities that are already on board to just get a feel. For
Maybe I didn't understand your question, Galen.
Just the communities that are already on
RRC?
board with this, right? Just kind of a real world indication of how this helps.
So have you been to Lapeer lately?
It's been a long time now.
So I would, and it was for me as well. I recently traveled there because they were recently accepted here, and I wanted to see.
Yeah.
Their downtown is amazing. I mean, they did have the fire recently, but you can see the updates that they've made in their parks, and just some of their signage in the main street. But we're different than Lapeer. We want to preserve our historicness, and that's what makes Holly. So we take a different spin on it because as no two people are the same, no two communities are the same. So we try to just look at their ideas and look at how it would affect the village, and would that be something that we would be interested in.
Potentially, then we would be able to be compliant, but still have our own
Entity.
idea. Okay.
Yes, and the RRC looks heavily on that.
Okay.
And the RRC has paid a visit to the Village of Holly, and they are very familiar with our historic background.
I know when this was first started a couple of years ago, one of the advantages of entering into this program was even funding for the master plan, just to make that happen. And so there's already tangible benefits to doing that.
I don't know if any of you have used our website, but it is very difficult, and somebody in my position who fields calls on a daily basis of people that are trying to navigate it, it's frustrating. So that's one of my first action items, is overhaul our website, make it user-friendly, very transparent, and all documents available on that website for less than 3 clicks is what my goal is. So we're going to try to make it so anybody can Google the Village of Holly and feel comfortable with that, and not. I'm kind of embarrassed.
The document library is quite amazing.
It is very amazing. Can I entertain any more questions?
Part of that document library, though, is the company that is sponsored through or that hosts that. Those are pretty standard, the document library itself.
But it's how it's organized,
Correct.
From-
Yes.
the organization and
Yes.
presentation of it.
And I can get through it, but from the layman and people out in the community, that's just not how you find
Correct.
documents.
In the search engine, if you wanted to get a building permit, you could just put building permit, and it would immediately pull it right up for you. So
Right, yeah.
that's what that's the
Yeah,
transparency
some
that
of
we're
those
trying to
things,
shoot for.
but like our ordinance, part of that document library it's a hosted type
But
of thing.
it's got a hyperlink that will send you right to American Legal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Jeremy.
So we have no need for action? itself
No
on
need for
that?
action. This was more of an educational and prepare you guys for some activity in the near months for ordinance review.
Good.
Thank you.
So, but I thought you said earlier that you were looking for
I
the plan
apologize.
commission, to
So I'm
adopt.
gonna be completely honest, this presentation was almost verbatim of what I gave council, and I forgot to take that edit out when I was reading it. So I'm not looking for any action from the planning commission or any votes this evening. I was more of an educational purpose so that you guys were aware of anything that may be coming down will be RRC related, and that you had a good understanding what the RRC does and will do for our community moving
So you're saying when you come before us as a customer,
Right. Education.
He'll bring plenty of work before us later.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to reports. ZBA, do we have anything at all there?
Is there anybody here on ZBA?
I don't think we do.
We do have a case coming up. Oh yeah, Mr. Murphy, you're on, right?
Yeah, we didn't have a meeting last month, so
No, this month, we have one for the billboard relocation.
it's for the village,
Right.
so.
Okay, DDA. I don't think we have anybody there either.
What's ZBA?
Zoning Board of Appeals.
Council,
Not really a whole lot happening there either at the moment. We approved, this and, I believe what we looked at for the, horses is coming to us in August on council, so,
August 10th.
yeah. Their August meeting.
Okay. Parks Commission.
Holidays.
Yep, holidays is September 11,
Parade.
with a parade and, they have a. they've had
Fireworks?
a Good committee working on a lot of things, and yes, it does conclude with fireworks, so.
And that's
Where will the
fireworks are
fireworks be?
downtown?
The fireworks are downtown, yes.
You can always be on the fire alarm,
I guess regarding Parks Commission and things, I noticed the beach is open.
That's
and
not ours.
That's not yours?
Township.
No, it's
That's-
township.
That's township.
It's township.
The beach and Sorensen
Or township.
belong to, Township Parks and Rec. The
Lakeside, Game
Crable
Show,
Park,
Cyclone, Crable,
Lakeside
all
Park.
that.
Parks are ours.
Lakeside, the lakeside part out there by the lake is ours.
Yeah.
But
So if it's theirs, why did we used to have village passes to use it?
because you're part of the township.
Township.
Township, yeah.
But it was only open to the village residents.
No,
No.
no.
That's what I was always told for years.
Mm.
Open to Holly residents.
Okay, stand corrected, I guess.
Yep.
Live and learn. All
The
right,
parks is a very confusing.
It always is.
Arrangement.
Whenever you see those threads on the forum, it's like, oh.
Yeah, it's
okay.
who's what part, yeah.
Moving on to commissioner and staff comments. Let's start down at the end, on my right.
Got nothing. Good to see everyone face to face.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the same way here. I'm glad that we're back here instead of being on Zoom. And I'm glad to see everybody all healthy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, me too, but no other comments.
New person down here,
Oh, I just,
Mr. Clark?
I was a little disappointed Memorial Day because I walked from home downtown. And when I walked by the park, what's the name of the park here?
Gamshaw?
Yes, on the right. The grass wasn't mowed. It looked sloppy. And I just think when we're having, that says a lot about us as a community, that the grounds look nice. And then that particular day, they didn't.
So you're talking about the ones actually downtown versus the ones out on Saginaw?
No, I walked from Grange Hall along Saginaw. I-
Gamshaw.
Right,
Yeah,
right on
yeah.
Evans Lake right there.
Right,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of messy,
Okay.
which I don't think is a good statement for the community.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Not to make excuses for anybody, but I would think that's usually done on a contract outside, and it's not,
No.
it's
I think
internal.
Holly-
It's from DPW.
They hire,
That's right, I used to see the, all right,
they hire summer staff,
Mm.
and that may have been,
It's DPW, I know.
Well, I know
Just
we're really short-staffed at
Exactly.
DPW, and it's been really wet.
very-
I was
It's
gonna say,
wet, yes.
the rain and
Yes.
sogginess.
No, I get that.
Talking to the guys in the shop, they're
Short.
spread real thin and
We
getting
all
pretty
are.
burnt and with, yeah.
Carroll too. I mean, it trickles down to all of us. It's
Mhm.
not just the DPW.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good.
Nothing. Yeah, good to be back in person. Although I would prefer to wear a mask because I look a little bit better that way. But
I was gonna say something about that.
right. I guess we're back to having our faces out. So here I am.
yeah.
Jim?
I'm happy to have a real meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would like to comment a little more on the Airbnb legislation and know that I have personally been in contact with Mike Mueller. Mr. Representative Mueller was one of the sponsors of this legislation as it was in the House, and I've had some conversation with him, and am hoping to have an actual sit-down conversation with him. This will destroy the 2 years that we spent working on Airbnb ordinances for our community. And once it does that, we will have absolutely no say over any piece of property for any reason for an Airbnb. The wording in that legislation actually says that you cannot require them to do anything more than you would require any other piece of property in that same zone. And so if you've got someone who wants to open an Airbnb in a single-family residence area, zone, you cannot, all of those checklists and inspections and everything go away, because we do not require that of a general residence. And so everything that we have worked to put in place disappears. And not just for us, but for every community in the state of Michigan. And do I think that they could come up with something that, what they are trying to do is make sure that communities cannot deny any Airbnbs, but they have, in that process, basically thrown the baby out with the bathwater. And so if you have the opportunity to speak with or send an email to our Senator Ruth Johnson, as well as our Representative Mike Mueller, would be very, very helpful.
Who wrote the legislation?
It's kind of coming in from lobbyists. It is an Airbnb lobby nationally that is kind of pushing this in multiple states in order to have basically free market rate. And so if you want to keep any local control on something, local oversight, really make a statement.
And Ruth Johnson, I think in particular, would be a very sympathetic ear towards it.
Right, yes,
She was
because
actually
she
just
is,
in the store a week ago, and I didn't know about this. We were
Mhm.
talking about other less important things, but
yes.
I'll be calling her
And
tomorrow.
I have been following this through Michigan Municipal League. They have created a website even strictly for opposition to this one thing. The Michigan Municipal League, Michigan Township Association, as well as several other organizations and government entities have all come out in opposition to this legislation. And it's going to take more than them. It's going to take us voicing our concerns to really have something that allows us to still be able to provide oversight of our own community.
Now, is this coincidental, or is this possibly partially why we've had a line item removed from the meeting tonight?
Possibly.
Who knows?
I'm just, you know,
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
why
And-
take a beating from the neighbors if it's just
Right.
gonna get greenlit
And
over our heads?
I'm not gonna comment on that because of, that's not a wise thing to do.
Absolutely, understood.
Would it be appropriate for us to consider some sort of a resolution at our next meeting?
Certainly. I would think that as a commission, we could maybe make a resolution, but also contact people individually.
So maybe it would behoove us, like I say, to put it on the agenda. Everybody have some comments.
Maybe we can see
Maybe
about
we can,
getting
maybe
one
we can
written.
draft
Come up
a
with a
letter
draft.
that's official from the Village of Holly Planning Commission, that are then signed by the members and sent forth.
Sure.
I'd like to do that, however, I would like to see the exact legislation, be able to read it through myself.
I will share with all of you the links to that information, where I have been following it and tracking it. There is a website where you can track, all of the legislation, that's run through both the House and the Senate, and read the documents, see where everyone is voting on it, see the process with it, and I get like a weekly email that keeps me abreast of all of the legislation in Lansing. I can share all that. I'll send that out as an email to everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
I know we're talking at state level particularly right now, but is this a national movement?
Well, I don't think that the national level can create that kind of legislation,
I was just curious if
but they are
states in general
targeting individual states.
Okay.
They are targeting several states, yes. And just for people if you are watching this video, take the time yourself as well to contact your legislators about this particular item.
Okay,
That's pretty much all I've got.
thank
Well,
you.
I could say, chamber things. I can't end without, talking about the chamber. Sidewalk sales and, community-wide garage sales are this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So big opportunities in the village. Sidewalk, with the garage sales even, you can go on the chamber's website and, enter your address so that people can find out where some of those sales are at. This is the one opportunity that you do not have to fill out an application with the village in order to do a garage sale. You just need to follow the same guidelines. So that's available as well. And the next weekend, Saturday night, is Blues Brews and Barbecue in coordination with the Moose Lodge in Broad Street. And so get your tickets, come on out and be able to celebrate together.
Alrighty. Thank you, Richard. I guess some of my comments are regarding, or questions actually. The items that we had approved in different site plans, for instance, on the assisted living, that would have been on Quick and North Holly Road. I haven't seen any groundwork or anything going on there. I didn't know if that had gone by the wayside or whether that's, because I believe that's been almost 6 months now. Then the question would be also, if there's nothing on that, the plans for Rosette and Saginaw for the carpentry woodworking shop. Have anything more on that? It looks like integrated manufacturing is starting to vacate the building. I see the things being moved out. Was that building sold, or are they just emptying it?
No, a company called Synergy, I believe, bought it.
Okay,
They've got a handful of different states they operate out of.
okay,
They came in and filled out an application for a credit limit with us. That's pretty much all I know about them. They're relatively
Okay.
large.
What do
do
they
you know
do?
when that is going to transpire?
I know it was heavy machinery. It was they worked on fork trucks.
I
and
can answer all those questions.
Oh,
Mr.
you'll
Rakowski, if
you'll
you'd
have
like.
a better.
Yeah, I think all three of those are good updates that we could.
Yep. Do you have any more? I was making this.
I think the other question was, is there anything else going on with the old Buick Auto there at Airport in Saginaw? And lastly, on Elm Street.
Perfect. I can address all those. So we'll start with the assisted living. They did contact me about 2 weeks ago, and they are working out their final building set of plans to submit to the village. I think they were waiting out the lumber prices a little bit for them to come back to a little bit of reality. But we've actually been meeting off the scenes too. We had an easement with the school that had to be put in place for the loop system, and that also had to go submitted to the state of Michigan for approval. Since then, everything with the school and the state has been approved, and they're, I would say, within 60 days of submitting a builder's set of plans to the village. on the vacant, the old car wash site. They are still moving forward as far as I know. I have not seen any activity other than Fonzen doing some test digs over there. I know the applicant wants to have a fresh water main ran from the main on Saginaw over there. So I know he's working with DPW to pay for that out of his own pocket. But as far as any site plans or some
Hopefully
documentation,
before they pave the new road.
so they don't have to bore
Well,
or.
they could bore it.
You mean they're actually gonna get back and work on that?
The IMS building, 714 North Saginaw, is been sold by Synergy, as Mr. Christensen stated. They are a rental company. They rent man lifts, GD booms, if you need a jackhammer, if you're breaking up some sidewalk over the weekend. They're a large rental retail entity where it's heavy equipment. It's not so much Home Depot rental. I'm sure they're gonna have the same kind of equipment, but you can also get a forklift or other items. if you need.
Bobcats,
Bobcats,
backhoes,
sky
stuff
lifts,
like.
yeah.
Yep, and as Gail
So
stated,
they're like a
they
son.
are a very large national corporation.
Or allied.
They did buy
Right,
they
exactly.
did buy the facility, and we have been in contacts with a privacy fence screening with them right now. The old Joseph Pontiac building, Richard and I and Nick Klemp met with an individual, you weren't part of that meeting, were you, Richard?
No, but I've met him.
Okay, an interested buyer, I heard he put a PA in on it, but, other than that, he just bounced some ideas and what would be allowed there. And if he follows through with our idea of what we would like to see there, it's gonna put Holly on the map, I promise you.
What do we like to see there?
Something that's gonna attract, business and revenue for the village, and also, the appetite of the village. As a little
the-
teaser, okay?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, the
Another
concepts
auto
are
parts
good.
store. Got
Very
it.
neat.
Right.
Concepts are good, we need to just,
Yeah, we're not gonna let the cat out on that because everything's been just discussion, but, if he does follow through, he's got a great financial backer, very reputable, partner, so we're gonna leave it there. And then Elm Street, we had court today, and, I don't know really what I'm allowed to say, at this point, but we're very in-depth court case on that property right now, so, like I said, I don't know what I'm allowed to say without,
that's probably enough.
without compromising the case, but,
Well, just to know that there's action on
There's
things
definitely
is
action on
is
court right
definitely
now.
what we're interested in seeing.
and, if you paid attention during my RRC presentation, I did mention some references to that, so. I think I answered all your questions, Mr. Olkowski.
The last one was what kind of came up in our giggles is what's going on with the Saginaw Road?
Oh, so they're supposed to start, I believe, tomorrow.
And why
And
did
it's
they
gonna be
stop for
closed
like a
2
month?
days. The Sorensen drain. Evidently, there was some miscommunication on whether or not it was being replaced or not being replaced. And it was not through the Village of Holly, it was through Oakland County.
All right, so in that regard, on the Sorensen Drain,
I don't know the outcome of what was, I just know that they're coming back to work. The Utility Director, Mr. Clausen, is on vacation this week, so I do not have an update.
I did
That'd
see
be
them
nice to
walking,
know.
they walked the entire drain and marked that.
well, it'd be nice to know basically the outcome as far as maybe next meeting you can find out. If that's gonna then solve the property issues on that last half of Saginaw Road with the drainage. Originally, when people wanted to build there, they couldn't because of the storm drain and runoff wasn't
Oh,
adequate.
well, they probably will not, I mean, that's set by the state, wetlands and, where you can build and where you cannot build. That's not set by local jurisdiction.
Are you talking about the drain extension that was running like behind,
Mhm.
that's still in play? That's a separate issue.
Oh, the North Saginaw,
Mhm.
yes, tax, yeah, no,
Right.
that is a separate entity all in itself. But the new owners of Joseph Pontiac are, aware of that responsibility and they proceeded to move forward, so, that's all I got on that. But that's a totally separate, sorry, Carol, discussion of what you're bringing up.
And that might, if that doesn't work out, maybe that could be something we could look at for investment into the community to then make the properties more more viable up in that area.
Well, I'm sure we all experienced the 4.37 inches of rain in 47 minutes here in the village of Holly on, was it Tuesday of, or when?
Saturday.
Saturday of last
Saturday,
week.
yeah.
Saturday.
You know, I'm still fielding calls for all the flooding, and it was an act of God. The last time we had that much rain was 1972, and, you know, it's unfortunate that it happened, but those swales are gonna get overwhelmed. I mean, there is no design that's gonna be able to accommodate that type of water in 47 minutes, that's going in the ground anywhere in the state of Michigan, I can promise you that.
Which, by the way, be prepared for one overnight into the
Tonight.
morning.
3
Tonight,
o'clock.
I heard 1 mile
There's
an hour
another
winds
one of those coming.
Coming out of Wisconsin, it's supposed to
I'll-
drop 2.5
I'll be
inches in
sleeping.
an hour or so.
between 3 and 5 a.m.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Leave your phones on. I do have a follow-up from last month's meeting. You had a
Alright.
question about the hazmat.
Yes.
So that program has been disbanded ever since Dawson Tire had taken over the old fire hall, and the township has not, had that program since. I talked to Mr. Cullis about it directly. So there is no hazardous waste materials drop-off here for the township or in the village. And he has not made any, efforts or, request to Oakland County to start that program back up. It sounds like it's not very cost efficient. The problems that he was stating to me was overnight people would drop off, you know, drywall and vacuum cleaners and 55-gallon drums of unknown substances, and it was just costing the township ungodly amounts of money to dispose of that properly. So, without it being a controlled drop, they were just unable to maintain that program moving forward.
The question is though, where does that stuff go? Cause it still exists.
Everybody's on everybody's on their own then to
Yeah.
Right, right.
dispose of it properly, theoretically.
Theoretically, right.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, any comments other than that, from staff?
I don't have any comments.
Nothing, thank you.
All right, moving on to item number 11, which is public comments. Again, having no one in the public, to speak. If you'd like to speak, please. Okay, I guess we'll make a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
We're at, 7:30.
Know it.
You know,
43.
now that they're, you know, I live over
O'clock
on
over
Lower
there,
Road.
yeah.
Okay.
The neighborhood behind me is
I think you
completely,
need battery.
Yeah.
it's kinda like when the government starts